I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody tries to order the minutes?
There's 2 minutes there, regular minutes, special meeting minutes, and then at the next meeting, I'll have the executive session meeting minutes with these.
Start with 14.
14. I'll make a motion to approve them as written.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Then you got the
Special.
Special meeting.
move to approve those names. Okay,
I'll second.
10 seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
And we got bills, claims. Motion approved. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Old business. Brian, anything on the Craney building?
Notice was published in a timely fashion, and I don't know if any bids have come in, but the deadline for bids is the 9th, I believe, June 9th, and bid opening on the 11th. The notice looked great. Went out the next day.
You were on it.
You
I
got
was waiting for it.
You got it to the paper.
Any other old business? New business?
This picture, it's the property that's on our wastewater drive back there. I finally got a hold of the wife that lives there. She's currently traveling in Omaha. She asked me if she could give my number to her husband, and he's going to hopefully get in contact with me. I don't know what you want us to do in the meantime. This has been for,
Oh, gosh, a week and a
I was
half.
gonna say, a couple of weeks.
The last big windstorm that went through.
And it's there, from these pictures, I haven't gone out and looked. It looks like it's their tree, but I'm not.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, looking at
It's come over the fence.
the road fence.
This is the town's fence.
Yeah.
Okay, that probably would be covered by their homeowner's insurance policy, the removal of the tree and repair of the fence.
How long do we have to wait for them to do something?
Well, I mean, don't have to wait any time at all. I mean, contact them and say, we want our fence fixed and we want your tree off our property, and we suggest you call your insurance agent.
Okay. Today was the first time I got in contact with her, so I'll wait and see if her husband reaches out by the end of this week.
Yeah, if you shoot me the address, I can send them a letter.
Okay.
Do that. I mean, you shoot me the address tomorrow morning.
I can do that.
And I'll just say, you know, town wants it removed, town wants it buried. That is probably wind damage that would be covered by most homeowners' insurance policies.
Perfect.
Any other business?
Everything's cool, Craney building.
Yep.
On the listing.
Everything's
Now we
done.
just gotta look for bids.
Yep.
Then we move, we're done.
Yep.
Okay. Well, sort of done.
Okay, Morgan.
Nope, that was it, just a tree.
True. Brian.
We had a lively and spirited discussion at the Plan Commission this evening. I don't have anything in particular tonight, other than you need to give me a phone number, because I have not heard from the Hanover Township trustee. We're gonna provide some documentation so we can continue to document and take up a course of action on fire protection consistent with the discussion
I can forward you that phone number.
that was had at the last meeting, the executive session.
I'm sharing it with
You want
you.
his trucking number, or do you want his?
I just shared his personal number to Brian.
Oh, the tree ordinance.
Pardon me?
They're gonna have a tree ordinance?
That I haven't gotten to. I mean, and frankly, what I'm gonna do is basically pirate another tree ordinance. I have.
Yeah, it's determined to be, it's gonna be a situation by situation ordinance.
Okay, I'll follow up with him directly.
Okay, Brad, sorry to hear about your father-in-law.
Appreciate it. I got a thank you card, I'll bring it in tomorrow. It seems the town sent something, but we're not sure where it's at. So, but we really appreciate the thought.
It was really nice.
It's pretty.
I'm like, I got the deal.
It's on its way from Amazon.
They just go through the US Postal Service.
Oh, God.
You're lucky to see it. Okay. Anything else, Brad?
And nothing else?
Doc? Okay. Water, wastewater, or is that else? Don Smith's gonna be out for 25th.
June, yeah.
25th?
So sometime in August now, he's telling me, latter August, so I got a question for you guys. Since he's gonna be out that long, it's gonna cut us down one guy, do we wanna look for a part-time guy to help with the park and different stuff? What are we gonna do?
Well, we shouldn't need help in the park. We've got somebody who has.
Okay. He's gonna be at the waste treatment plant,
Is he
so,
gonna be doing that? I mean,
well, he should be able to do that in a couple hours a day, so.
Yeah, he won't be, well, he's getting both done. He'll be a little limited for the first
Yeah.
couple days, but they'll have him up right away. So, yeah.
I mean, we should be all right. We got in the bind, as soon as we got in the bind, but.
We had a part-time guy last year. Did he wanna do it again?
just for a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
uh,
Someone's interested for just a couple, weeks or a month or two, I mean, just for the summertime help.
Yeah.
If we can't get it done, we could put that.
I'm just saying, like, there's derby days when he's gone, there's gonna be those concerts at the park. And I think Gary has a vacation coming up.
I think he's set next week.
we should get by. If we got in the bind, if we lose somebody.
I mean, if we wanna put it out there, I don't have a problem with it.
But I'm not sure we can wait till like 25th or so. We don't have him.
When's he going down?
25th.
Oh,
June 20th.
June 25th.
Yeah,
Oh,
That's the surgery day.
June 25th.
No,
he's
told me.
gonna be out June 20th, is what my latest email says. His last day working will be June 20th.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's gonna be out through August something. he's telling me.
At least 8 weeks, he thought.
Yeah.
So June, July, and most of August.
June 6th. Okay.
Okay. Good.
Sure.
Okay. Fire department.
Anything? Any repairs or anything we gotta deal with?
Charles, right?
Yeah,
We started working on that still.
he's supposed to be working on that. I talked to him today and said, you needed that.
Anything decided on the insurance, well, since our meeting?
I can't remember what all was written down though.
I think if we lease their equipment, we will take over maintenance and insurance.
Right, that would
And
be
he-
basically our lease.
Yeah, it would be that would be our lease payment, and then we just gotta find out when that starts. Cause he was thinking his insurance was up in July.
Yeah,
July.
that's the
That's right.
information, that's the
That sounds
information I
right.
need.
Yeah.
That he's concerned about information. insurance terminating in June. He thought it was the end of the month, but wasn't certain, so.
I have their last year's insurance bill. I know I do, because I paid it.
Can you get that for Brian?
Yeah.
Get that-
Yeah, I'll be at work in the morning.
Just
I can do it in the
shoot
morning.
me a copy.
You need anything else other than that?
Pardon
Will
me?
you need anything else other than?
No, what I need is some information from him, but I'll get that. I mean, so, I don't know, he must have gotten busy or forgot or what have you,
I
so.
think he's been trying, very hot.
But I at least have the insurance done.
Okay.
So let's get it started.
If you have the invoice that you paid, that will show the duration of the coverage, and I'm sure it's the same this year as last, so.
Okay. Mark?
I haven't heard from Dee on when the painting and the fence goes up. Gotta get in touch with her about that, because that was, Krim was gonna be doing that. I'll just have to touch base with her.
I think we probably should run some yellow tape around the pickleball court. We had people parking on it today.
Oh, no.
Keep them off of it, just good
We
graduation.
had barricades up there, but I'm sure they got knocked down. So, yeah,
I think they just thought it was part of the parking lot. So,
yeah, because I'm sure it wasn't poured to, or laid down to support vehicles.
Yeah. We'll get ahold of Dee Dee, see what she knows.
Anything else on the card?
There is a concert scheduled for June 21st.
Somewhere.
And he has started posting flyers for that. I did see.
Yeah,
And
June
boy-
21st.
Boys and Girls Club's gonna do food.
Okay.
Gonna do food at the concession stands.
Anything on revitalization? Not really.
No.
Miscellaneous? Derek?
I got some pictures here that make copies for, go through and give everybody a. Okay, so last fall, we were working on the property on 120 Jackson, and I came to the town council meeting and asked them about this tree, and they came out and looked at it, and it got, I don't know, it got put off or so forth, and you can see it's in the easement there, excuse me, with the Duke's pole, as far as by the alley there, and so I had talked to Dave and Christie, and we had talked about getting it taken down, and it became a big risk is what it amounted to. And if you go to the next picture, the top picture is the telephone pole. So we took the tree down here this last week, and the next four pictures are that tree as we took it down, which, as you can see, was more than a significant risk as far as to about 3 properties on that location. And so we got it taken down, my boys hauled it away, and the next picture, the last picture on the tree stump is another one that we took down behind 331 East Main, that was dying, and you can see the middle of the trunk is pretty much gone, waiting to basically one more Directo, and it's going down on a property or 2 or 3. And then the last 2 are the sidewalk up there in front of that 120 Jackson. And I guess the reason I'm here, first of all, as the tree is the first thing, we had it taken down. I sent an invoice to Christie and Dave today.
What is that invoice, Terry? I didn't even.
Yeah, $2,800, and Acuna took it down, and my boys hauled as I said, hauled everything away and disposed of the tree, and thank God, because as you can see, it was ready to make a mess of
more than one property, and so I guess I'm asking if that can be paid, as or reimbursed. I paid the invoice, and if it can be reimbursed. And then the sidewalk there is the, so we renovated that property, 120 South Jackson, and they poured the sidewalk out, and they put, a side, on each side of the main sidewalk, and what's underwater there is the town's, sidewalk as it's been up to now. And I guess that's the other reason I'm here. And we've talked, Devin and Christie and I had talked about it, and I was just, I guess, formally requesting if we could have that. We've got a nice property there. We'd like to not have a sidewalk underwater as your,
Well, the tree was in bad shape. I mean, it's bad.
And just throwing it out there, when we talked about this tree the last time, it is not in a town's easement, it was in Duke's easement, and we chose not to do it because it wasn't in a town easement.
but see, I would disagree with that, because Duke said that they can't take that pole out, because that's until that 9 Star. So if that's not an easement, if that's a Duke easement and not a town easement, then who's getting paid by 9 Star for the easement, that's there?
9 Star's not on poles in this town.
Well, it's a 9 Star. That is, in fact, I called 9 Star, and they said that that was their,
Frontier is on poles.
well, 9 Star said it was theirs.
They're underground.
Well, I'm telling you what they told me. It can
That is
be,
just what the discussion was when he came to the meeting before, is because it's technically not in a town's easement, we were not taking it down. So,
but if it's not in the town's easement,
because
then,
we don't have any water or utilities in there.
but again, I guess I would disagree, because I can't put a fence right up to the alley there. I mean, if I put a fence all the way up to, are you saying that that's my property then, all the way up to the alley, to the pavement on the alley, and I can put a fence all the way right on the
I don't know
alley?
what our fence ordinance is without reading it.
But there's no easement.
The alley is.
I don't know. Under the new UDO vote, you wouldn't be able to put a fence up.
Yeah.
Well, who owns the utility pole? I mean, I've heard 9 Star, I've heard Duke, do we know?
But Duke owns it, and I called both of them, and 9 Star said it was theirs to take down, so I'm going based on the information that I've been given. If that's not the case, then that needs taken up with 9 Star, but they said it was theirs.
That tag tells you whose it is?
Yeah, they are tagged, you can't see it in that photo very well.
You can see it's on.
Yeah,
the-
Actually, that tag looks like, what's called a treatment tag, which means that
Usually it's a
periodically.
plate, like that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, I think that's the one you're talking about.
I think everything that 9 Star has is underground in town. It's all board. Is that right?
They're bored.
Frontier still has some.
Well, the location of the pole is interesting. Tammy says this is not, town easement.
That's what was discussed the last summer.
But Duke says it's not their responsibility in the easement. They said that they don't remove trees in their easement. They said that it's the town's easement, is what they told me.
Well, the utility can place a pole in the public right of way without any compensation. If they don't have right of way to utilize, they must obtain an easement. But generally speaking, there's no periodic and ongoing payments for easement. You obtain easement, you pay a fee, and that's that.
Well, my only point along that is that if it's not in the town's easement, then
How is it there? Or
Yeah,
how is it there?
correct.
How did we determine that that's not right of way associated with that alley?
They said there was no water or sewage line running down the
Well,
side.
that's not necessarily dispositive. I mean, again, and I don't know, I'd have to look at the ordinance. Generally, an alley would be fairly narrow and you wouldn't have much right of way. I mean, most of your county roads are, from side to side, center line out, 16 feet, not all of it's paved. So you got 32 feet, but the boundary, if you will, is right of way. I hear this is just kind of peculiar.
We need to find out what the right of way is. Not what the right of way is, but what the alley width is.
Hey, Terry, I got a question for you. So, I had to cut a tree down within the town's area, within the town's easement. I had to pay out of pocket to have it removed, so why should we have it? I mean, you get paid rent, you're using these homes.
It's not my problem, it's not my, it's the town's easement.
But you're using these homes for income, that's money coming into you, so.
I mean, we took down 5 trees in the town's easement ourselves after one fell on one of our houses. We paid to take them down ourselves, and they were in the easement right on the road, but we did it as a homeowner, so I don't, I'm kind of like you, Brad, I mean, I did the same thing. For the safety of our property, the street.
But if it's the town's easement, if the tree clearly poses a danger, I think there's enough precedent in Indiana as far as dangerous trees that come down, that clearly the tree was a risk to
But
no less than,
property owners have to be responsible for their own property as well, so.
but if it's not my property, if it's in the easement, it's not my property.
It is.
And I can put a fence all the way up to the
No, but
alley?
Even easements, you still are responsible. Brad, you looked that up one time for me. Do you know easements are still the responsibility of, like, maintenance, keeping them mowed, keeping them maintained, those
So
kinds of
earlier, I was at a town council meeting, and it was determined that the trees that are between the sidewalk and the curb are the responsibility of the city. But yet, the house, the homeowner owns all the way to the street.
They're responsible. Yes, basically, they own it.
But you've acknowledged that the town is responsible for those trees.
Because they are part of an easement of the street, is my understanding.
But you just
If
said-
I'm wrong, you guys need to fill me in, but this is an alley, not a street, so there is a difference width. So I think that's what we need to find out, is what the width of it is, and what
What we
is our
don't know, or
responsibility?
what I have not seen is, when was the alley platted and what was platted?
That was probably one of the first alleys planted in town, in that area. If you look on the plat map, probably, on easement, you usually have, I've had people purchase easements off me.
Yeah, you've got 2 potential issues, and I'll try and answer some of these questions, okay? First of all, if it's right of way would be platted by the town, by city, by state, what have you, and the law on right of way is it is public right of way, and therefore the public can utilize that. And that includes the fact that utilities may place infrastructure right of way. Now, if it's not right of way, past the paved portion of the alley, then it could be an easement. And that could have been acquired by Duke or its predecessor. When you purchased this, you haven't owned this property a long
9 years.
9 years? Well, 9 years ago. I mean, today, the title commitments and title searches are really good because they hot-like all the documents. I mean, step 1 would be to try and analyze the town's records as to the nature of the alley. Step 2 would be maybe pull a title search, and only a search, for that lot to see what easements pop up. I mean,
Or how about this? How about we recognize and acknowledge that there's a tree issue in this town that goes way past what we're discussing here, and realize that the tree issue is a real and major concern, if you drive around the town, we started talking about this 2 years ago. How about we come up with a solution instead of arguing about whose responsibility it is, realize that it's beneficial to the town and the property owners and so on and so forth.
I know at one point Donnie was talking about cutting all the trees that were down in between.
Well, there's obviously a termite issue in the town. I can show you example after example. That's highly correlated to the trees in the town. And so in terms of long-term benefit to the town, I think that there's a lot of things on the positive side to be gained by taking a proactive response to this instead of digging our heels in and saying that, having an argument about who's responsible.
I think sometimes too, just my opinion, like, if you got a dangerous tree, that is something that needs to be taken care of.
If it was in the middle of this backyard and it's a dangerous tree, we can't do anything about it. It's not property we can,
We're not responsible for it.
whether, I mean, I get it. They are dangerous,
Well, it would be serious if this tree fell on a car in our.
I get it.
This
I
is what we
mean,
discussed at last meeting, and this is why we were gonna have an ordinance for dangerous trees, because
Well,
this is,
okay,
can be a serious issue.
But we said it was gonna be case by case.
Okay, clarification, that's helpful, Chrissy, because frankly, that's a little different than what I thought you were looking for, okay? What I thought you were looking for was an ordinance that governs the planting of trees adjacent to sidewalks and streets and so on. Because there are trees that are very compatible with sidewalks and streets, and there are trees that aren't. And what you try and do is prohibit the planting of the trees that are heave up the pavement and so on. Now, if you want an ordinance that goes beyond that as to the regulation of trees that are deemed to be potentially dangerous or not well positioned, I can do that, but
Well,
I
that's
didn't
because we
understand.
discussed the tree in Hancock County that fell on a car
Right,
and killed someone. And that's what
Right.
we're trying to prevent.
And that left the county liable
Right.
in that situation.
And that's what I'm saying, trees that are in our,
Few
close to our
million dollars.
roadway that are dangerous trees are something that we need to be, looking
well,
at.
I think in the end, the liability was actually, first of all, under the Tort Claims Act, the ability for someone to recover against a governmental entity is limited, all right? So to the extent there were damages collected over and above, that probably came from the property owner.
Then why is Hancock County cutting back all the trees?
I was gonna say, that's-
Oh, well, I mean, it's just good practice. I mean, it's surprising that Duke is not more assiduous in trimming activities because the utility hates trees near their lines.
But I guess I would argue or agree with you that it's good practice in the town, whether it's dangerous or whatever. There's a lot of mature trees. There's a lot of
Yeah, I mean,
trees.
if you want a proposed ordinance that goes beyond simply regulating types of plantings, we can do that. But I didn't understand that's what you wanted, I apologize.
Now you've lost me, Brian. I don't know what we're talking about.
He's acting in a proactive manner as to what's going forward. We're trying to deal with what's already here.
Right.
We're looking for something that discusses
Who's responsible?
who's responsible for what trees. My point of contention is here, we have a tree that was removed, the board had not approved it to be removed, therefore, we're being held accountable.
I had a series of discussions with Christie and Dave though prior to this,
But
with
it's
the
not-
understanding.
we
never voted to tell you.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, this is a body that has to agree on that. You can have discussions with any of us regarding anything, but it is not an approval or a denial of what can and can't be done. This should have been brought up, I mean, it could have, should have, whatever, but what needed to be done, needed to be brought up in front of the board, hey, I got a tree here, this wasn't falling over at the moment, because of any time, that's not here, that's not there. But you wanting us to pay for something we didn't approve, or even know, well, we might have done about 2 years ago, but
Well, I started asking about it in August of last year.
and we've worked on several trees throughout the town. And, you know, unfortunately, finances are there, you can't get them all at once.
On the sidewalk, you and I talked about sidewalk, and that sidewalk is, Craig went and talked to the sidewalk guys, and they said $7 a square foot is what they told him. And he's supposed to be getting another price, just so we can have apples to apples, because that is a bad situation.
Bad situation. Good looking work on the house, good looking everything else.
Well, thank you.
That's really, really,
But that's, the sidewalk, I told him, I said, well, you just gotta have more than one price. But he talked to the guy that was up there, and I think they told him $7 a square foot, which, I'll be honest with you,
that sounds good.
that wasn't a bad deal.
I'm gonna say, I think we ought to go ahead and pay for this since we don't have a ordinance. We've paid for a lot more trees and a lot more money than what he's charging.
Well, that's, I'm gonna bring this up too. When you had mentioned to us this tree, I sent Don Smith, I believe it's Don Smith, is it Don Smith or Dave Brush? I got a price of $6,500 and a price of $6,000 to take that tree up. Well, from there on, I just kinda, I thought that was kinda high. And I don't remember what your price was.
2,800.
2,800.
And my boys hauled it all the way.
I'm gonna make a motion, we repay Terry that $2,800.
I'll second.
With the stipulation that if any other trees need to be taken down, it's brought in front of the
Right.
board, and somebody just doesn't go out and get it,
Right.
and expect us to pay for it. I'm just trying to be cautious, maybe people of the
I'll put
town's
that in
money.
my-
I'll second that.
Appreciate
Moved second, all in favor?
Aye.
it. Thank you.
And the sidewalks, he hasn't got back with me, I told him to get the prices. That's probably one of the worst situations we
I'm
haven't
gonna make a
had.
motion that we
Yeah,
do the sidewalk at the lowest price.
I'll say that.
Go for it.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
thank you. Appreciate it.
That's gotta be on that map for Babin.
It's,
Crying out loud.
that's another question I got, since we're on the sidewalk, because Craig asked me this. What you put out there is a little higher than the sidewalk that was there, like this much, which, to be honest with you, probably the way it ought to be, to keep the water.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he did it based on, he's shooting a laser on it to come up with that level.
So,
Did we do that over here?
Yeah,
Where-
with the road.
Yeah.
It was the road and the sidewalk. That goes that way.
Across from the Methodist Church. County.
Correct. Johnson,
Yeah, that's John.
Yeah, Johnson.
didn't we have to do some elevation there
Yes, we raised
to
it.
keep, so it wasn't dumping in the yard?
Yeah.
and the guy that did give me the price said that $7 a square foot, done. That's filled up, that's doing anything he has to do. And I thought, well, that's pretty impressive.
You put this guy on the phone?
But, any other miscellaneous? There was no miscellaneous, right?
Yeah, it's on
Anything else?
the lane. Let's do adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Well, maybe the property needs to put in a minute.
Yeah.